Good evening. It's another week of Overwatch questions on the Overwatch University subreddit, the most upvoted ones of the week. Here we go. Top question of the week was, how does someone become genuinely good at Overwatch? Just play the game. Doesn't work for me. 800 hours in, and I still feel like a totally new player, constantly getting stomped, getting yelled at, and whatever. Yes, I could blame my teammates, but what does that get me? You're right, it doesn't get you anywhere. I won't improve when I blame everyone else, so I'll genuinely ask, what is a way to improve fast? I mostly play support, started with Mercy, but it feels like I only wasted my hours on her. I don't care what anyone says. I could have put those 300 hours in any other hero and it would have been more worthwhile. Kind of a rant, but are there any recourses you guys recommend? I will gladly accept them. I now play BAP, Kiriko, and a little bit of Ana. Have a nice day, everyone. Well, Mr. MC Ojo, you said you feel like you wasted 300 hours on Mercy. I disagree. I think Overwatch is an incredibly complex game, way more than you give yourself credit for. Maybe you didn't perfect, transferable mechanical aim skills because Mercy is very much, put a beam on someone. But there's so many other intangibles that you picked up in 300 hours that are still worth it. If anything, playing Mercy allowed you to focus on other parts of your skill set that you don't even notice, like, game sense, ultimate tracking, natural movement, playing natural cover, understanding the macro, when to push, when not to push, when to back up, when to group up, like all those aspects of Overwatch, and map knowledge as well. There's 35, 40 maps in the game or whatever at this point. So I would not say they're wasted, number one. Number two, you want to know how to improve fast. That seems a little bit too much like an infomercial, like fix this thing fast. And, it sounds like you're trying to get end results too quickly. Sorry, it's more of trying to get results quick, going to the gym or doing something that takes a long time, right? There's no secret or shortcut. The best way to genuinely become good at Overwatch is to refine all those skills I listed. That one skill you feel like you're missing is probably mechanical aim because you feel like you lost it because you wasted time playing Mercy. You can pick that up. It's actually not too difficult. You're now playing BAP and Kiri and Ana. That's going to perfect that skill. Great. You got to work on your own movement, how to strafe properly, those other aspects of the game, tracking, especially as a support hero, tracking what ultimates they have, how to counteract and play around certain things, how to take different angles. It's hard to say what you need to particularly work on, but to genuinely become good, you got to work at all of those things, and the best way is to be proactive and look at your own replays, analyze them as best as you can by not only looking at your mistakes but missed opportunities. Watch some coaching videos, watch streamers like me. I play a lot of support, maybe ones that also talk through their gameplay and their decision making. I don't always do that anymore. I'm not really an educational streamer like I used to be. I kind of just focus on the game, but I'm happy to answer any questions on stream regarding certain decisions and why I made them in those specific situations. I wouldn't say blindly mirror or mimic any support player at a different rank than yours, but kind of think through why do they decide to use that cooldown there. And if their mechanics look a lot better, that's something you can, proactively work on. And yeah, all those things combined. I would say there's no shortcut, just do the work, right? Put in the work. Next upvoted question was, why do Overwatch players spam jump and how to stop it? I, like most other Overwatch players, seem to have an ADHD obsession with spamming jump for no reason when moving. I watched a random comp game of mine in replays, and in 2 minutes 4 seconds of match time, I jumped roughly 49 times, which works out to one jump every 3 to 4 seconds. Blah, blah, blah. Unnecessary behavior will get you killed by good players. Okay, this is at least particularly a learned behavior. I remember very clearly when I first started playing this game, being bewildered that my friends were constantly jumping, moving to the point, and asking why. They had no idea why they did it. Even top 500 players do this while walking to point, although they at least have the wherewithal to refrain during fights. That's a word I've never used before. So why is this common among Overwatch players, and how do you stop it? Rebind jump. I tried playing a few games with jump completely unbound, and I was still spamming spacebar like mad. Honestly, the short answer is probably because jumping is fun, and there's no penalty for it in a lot of cases, right? Your movement speed is not slowed down if you press W or walk forward to a point versus jumping. Jumping kind of helps that little, I guess, ADHD obsession. There's probably a word for it, like a tick. So some players will also spray the wall unnecessarily. I do it sometimes. After going a kill, I'll look down and spray the ground for some reason. Same with jumping. It's just fun and helps you get that energy and a little bit of a recalibration in a lot of ways. Now, it's fine to continue jumping, but again, in the middle of team fights where jumping is unnecessary, you already pointed out it can get you killed in a lot of cases because you get put in a very predictable parabolic pattern. I don't know what to tell you. Just take your hand and slap it. No more jumping in the middle of team fights unless it makes sense in that specific scenario to dodge something in particular. But try to cut it out and work on strafing a lot more with randomized movements more so than jumping in the middle of a team fight. But outside of team fights, I mean, jump away. Who cares? And the best way to do that is just deliberate practice. Like, I don't even think there's any sort of secret. You try to do like the hard cold turkey one, which is unbinding it, but really it's just a matter of all in here, where you have to literally deliberately do it until it becomes subconscious. That's it. And put in the work to kill a habit. Do it for 3 weeks. Deliberately be like, okay, I'm gonna like isolate all these other factors in the game and just focus on not pressing jump. Like literally in the middle of team fights, be like, oh, try not to press it, try not to press it. Like teach yourself, tell yourself it, and trick yourself over and over again until it becomes habit. How do I go about learning a tank that I'm mechanically bad at without ruining the match for my 4 teammates? I've been wanting to learn Doom for the next time, but I know I'm going to lose a lot before I get comfortable enough with him. I tried playing him in arcade modes in open queue, but the lower HP hurts, and I feel like I can't learn correctly while gimped like that. Is my only option pretty much to throw and ruin games slowly to learn Doom? Just play quick play. Who cares? It's just quick play. Don't worry about ruining games. It's their loss. You're just playing the game for fun. You're quick playing and you're picking up some Doomfist. Another alternative is to probably play some Doomfist parkour custom game modes. They're plentiful. If you just search it up on the custom games area, somebody probably has a lobby running, or go to workshop.codes. The website is literally called workshop.codes. Not a .com, workshop.codes. And then in there, search Doomfist parkour. And that'll help you familiarize yourself with more of his punch and seismic slam and how to manipulate his movement and all that fun stuff. But that's just his individual movement. The rest of the skill set from Doom comes from game experience and learning who you can challenge, who you can't. And the only way to do that is to literally put in the reps and just play it. Like, who cares? In quick play. And even if you play ranked and you lose ranks, you'll eventually find a point where you will stabilize. And, you know, you could go that route, but seriously, just play quick play. Who cares? What are the rank populations looking like? Now that we're a few weeks in, it seems like the vast majority of people went down a division while the minority surpassed their previous peak or stayed the same, and correct me if I'm wrong. The most visible population streamers seem to be fighting for their lives in GM and High Masters when they were previously in GM1. Even the notorious Awkward, hailed for hitting rank 1 numerous times, has not moved up from GM5 in weeks, currently going 47 and 27. My previous rank was Diamond 2. This season I'm Plat 1. Whenever I cross the border into Diamond 5 or 4, I'm facing Masters players the majority of the time. Curious how this is in the low medal ranks and if everyone in general are seeing these trends. That is correct. Even for someone like me, I've been hovering around GM1 top 500 for all of Overwatch 2, and I got placed in Masters 2. As of today of filming this, I'm back in Masters 2, but I placed in Masters 2. I went up to GM5, and then I fell down all the way to Diamond 1 for like a game or two, and then I climbed back up to Masters 2 in the last 2 days. So I am like hovering around this area, and the match quality feels, I would say, akin to like GM3 at this point, GM2, GM3 of the previous seasons. But it is definitely difficult. I actually have a positive win rate for the season, but I'm actually a little bit under where I started. It is certainly difficult. This MMR reset was no joke, where it really does feel like an uphill battle every single game. A lot of the players in the matches, even in High Masters, are basically previous top 500 GM1 players. If you look at the leaderboard right now, there's like 2 or 3 to 4 champion players, and then even being in GM1 right now is still top 10 for some roles. I looked at support NA, there's like 4 champion players, 4 GM1 players, like 10 GM2 players. So literally, if you're in GM5, like Grandmaster 5, you're in top 100 right now. So the old Grandmaster really actually feels like you're a Grandmaster. Like if you're in chess and you're a Grandmaster, that's a very esteemed title. And the title of Grandmaster was kind of, in the previous Overwatch 1 and Overwatch 2, was easier to hit for a lot of players. I can definitely attest to that. I touched GM5 for like a day and then I lost it. So this is, you're not alone in feeling like this. A lot of people above the median, so I think the median rank is gold 2 or gold 1, got sent down quite a bit, and everybody is kind of clumped in that area and fighting for their lives here. I will say this. This reset is only happening once a year. So it happened right now, season 9, but it won't happen again until 2025. They did mention they want to do a reset like this once a year. So as the seasons go on for the rest of the year in 2024, like by the time we're in September 2024, all the top players who are very good will probably normalize a little bit into high GM, and there will be more Grandmaster 1 and 2 players and more champion players as time goes on. And people will, you know, normalize a little bit and distribute. But this whole reset was to remove outliers on extremes. So a lot of people were clumped in GM1, and then now they're getting sent back down. It takes a long time to get back up, and all the pros are hitting GM1 and like champion right now, but all the people that were kind of fringe, fraudulent GM1 players are struggling, myself included. I'm a fraud, apparently. It's all good though. We'll make it. We'll make it. When does high ground actually matter? I play in tank in gold, and I watch a lot of high level Overwatch, and let me just say the game is way different. It has definitely made my awareness, game sense, map knowledge better when I play the game. But when I load into the game, a lot of the battles just take place on cart or on main, and whenever I go take high ground for my team, no one uses it or just drops right away. Numbani is a great example. We have high ground positions on defense, but the enemy team just goes main, and my team just drops and sits on the cart to defend. Like, when does high ground matter? Because all the fights don't take place there, and while watching streamers, all their fights have to take place on high ground first, and everyone leaves cart. So will I expect things to change in diamond or higher? Because it just seems like the game is so basic. Just all you need to know is high ground is good, and it is good for many reasons. First of all, you can always go from high to low, but you can't always go from low to high depending on the hero, or if you might have to expend a cooldown. So that starting high gives you more options to drop if needed, but if you're on low, you're like it's like it depends on who you play of going back up. Okay, got that point across. So you have extra options when you're high ground. Number 2, it acts as a natural piece of cover. If you back off on a high ground a little bit, you can use that ground ledge and that angle from high to low to actually act as cover, right? And then number 3, that piece of cover acts as like a hitbox hider. So if you're on low ground looking up, half their body is probably showing if they're tucked back, right? Like their chest up or even their head. They call it like headshot glitching or headbox glitching in a lot of other games like Apex and stuff as well. Using natural cover means a lot and works in your favor in those ways. Number 4 is top-down angles. When you're high, looking down is easier to hit, right? From their perspective, they can only see half your body, but when you look down on them, you see their head and their entire body. And then they're probably out in the open, and they may not have natural cover right away, but all you have to do on high ground is take a few steps back. And it's easier for you to land shots. A lot of you starting high to low also outranges a lot of enemies. Like if the enemy Zarya or the Ryan walk to the cart and you're on high ground, literally what can a Ryan and Zarya do to you? The Zarya's secondary fires are going to be very hard to hit you, and the Ryan, chuck a couple of fire strikes, he's at a swing range, then what? And you just stand there and shoot. Don't worry about what your team does. If you are a ranged character that has some sort of range, you just play high ground, and you are just, it just gives you so much more value, and it gives you off angle pressure. Like if everybody clumps to the cart and they're a Ryan player, then all they have to do is just swing on cart. But if they have to swing on cart and then worry about you on high ground plucking away, you know, as a soldier, it is immense pressure. So just, it always matters. High ground always matters. Just take it. How do you play the game and not get angry? Okay, this is an edit, but let's read down here. I am a very level-headed person. I rarely rage at video games in general, but something about this game and community gets to me. If it's not the instant counter swaps that ruins me having a chance to play the characters I like, it's the Smurfs. If it isn't the Smurfs, it's the toxicity and the easy after every match, the people adding you to whisper toxicity at you. I get it, it's a skill issue. Every game and every opportunity is on me, but why do I feel like out of 10 games I played, I have to sweat my absolute dick off to even have a chance to win, while the enemy team just counter swaps, plays together, then rolls our plat staggering team? I want to improve the game, so I spend hours watching helpful content, practice range it up, custom game trainers, hours dumped into the game in general in my free time. And although I feel like I've improved, I also feel like the odds are never in my favor. I played quite a few games where I'm just popping off, but we still lose. I have multiple 50 elim games that I have lost because of one team fight or something. I had a 48-2 Reaper game on Serve, also we still lost. In fact, my only win last night came from Havana that I had to absolutely carry at the end just to win by a few meters. But the point is, how do you play and not get angry? Well, understandably, I understand your frustrations, right? It certainly does feel bad when you feel like you played amazing and you don't get the victory. but I forgot what this term is in psychology, but you tend to always remember the ones where you pop off and don't win over the ones you kind of played like ass or not that well, but you actually got a free victory. Is it confirmation bias or something like that? So that's something like managing your expectations and a self-realization helps me personally not get angry at games. There were plenty of games I played with Flats last week where I literally went on a disgusting losing streak. We were like 3-18, and then the joke Flats is like, dude, we have to play like prime Kobe and Shaq to even get a chance to win, and we still lost. Like Flats was 42-5. I was 31-7 as Baptiste on support with like a disgusting amount of damage and healing, and we still lost the game. That was a joke. And as frustrating as it was, I wasn't angry because I know my place as a player and I know my expectations and I manage my expectations. I guess the takeaway point is manage your expectations. You're going to have very volatile winning streaks and losing streaks where, again, you have to sweat your absolute dick off to win, but then you will have games that you absolutely cruise to victory. And that happened to me today. Despite our disgusting losing streak a couple of days ago, over the course of 3 days, we were like, I said 3-18. I think if we averaged out over the 3 days, I think we were like 6-30. Like literally awful. I peaked GM5. I literally fell to Diamond 1 in this new season, which is actually insane. Yesterday and today, I've climbed all the way back to Masters 2, and I'm back in basically top 500. I'm right near the bottom of it. And that's because I managed my expectations. I knew with that terrible losing streak, you know, people were like, oh, you're going to fall to plat. And I'm like, no, I'm not. There's going to be a certain point where it's like, okay, like it'll normalize and regress to the mean. So when you are going on a streak of tilt or losing, just remember there will be an equal and opposite winning streak. That expectation management helps me calm down, and I'm hopefully that may instill something in you to kind of just take a step back and be like, okay, I went 48 into his Reaper, I couldn't win. But trust me, you will have a game where you go like 20-20 on Reaper and have the most mid game of all time, and you just get carried. But you forget about those kinds of games because that's just the psychology, this confirmation bias. Today, I will say I played pretty well today. We went 12-4 today. I had like 2 games where I didn't even play that well, and we ended up winning kind of for free. I lost. I like died right at the beginning of the final team fight, but we still won. Like, that shouldn't happen. Like, if I die first, we were playing a 4v5. Like, my team should have probably lost that fight, but they kind of carried me there. And me realizing that, you know, it's all good. I take the free wins when I can. So, expectation management is probably the best way to not get angry. Okay, this is not so much a question, but this is a question or discussion. Hot take, Illari low-key slaps. I'm a GM 5-4 Zen OTP and a BAP player. Played a ton of Illari at launch, who was broken. I agree. She did get super hard nerfed, yada, yada, yada. Anyways, Season 9, 65% win rate over 25 games. She's super fun, number 1, and can work on many team comps. 25 games is not even that big of a sample size, but let me keep reading. She's very much a Widow kind of playstyle. If you aren't hitting shot after shot, you're throwing. If you are, you're providing chunky burst damage. If you're providing that damage onto a target that's being pressured by a DPS debuff, even better. I'm still low masters with the rank reset, so we'll see, but it seems like most people I'm playing against are former GM. Anyways, that's my Illari fanboy post. Here's the thing. Every hero in the game is serviceable and playable. You're never really going to have like a below 45% win rate across like 100 plus games consistently. Because like if you have below 45%, that's actually already pretty bad. So you will certainly win games. It feels like you're kind of streaking right now. 65% over 25 games. That's like what? Going 15-10? What's 65? Is that 65%? Something like that. That's like plus 5 games. I agree that she's super fun and can work. She's kind of like the poking archetype. But the only issue I find with Illari right now, as good as her offensive pressure can be, she's very vulnerable if she's soloing an off angle to like all the much stronger buffed DPSs right now, like tracers and all that stuff. And I find that if she's off angling and she can't confirm any kills, she can poke quite a bit, but if she's not confirming anything, I feel like there's other heroes that fill her role, like KarQ, who have better survivability, better team-oriented ultimates, and Kitsune is just so good for the team. You can poke with kunais. May not be as consistent as Illari, but you know, her job kind of like is less safe. If you're off angling as Illari and like someone's smart enough to like 2-man dive you, you don't TP out like KarQ. You have like a little like boop back, but that's about it. That's pretty easy to chase down. At least that's what I found. I've seen about 2 Illari players. I did see an Illari main today, in a top 500 game, and well, it was like Masters 1 in this new thing, but that's basically top 300 apparently. So we rolled them. They had so much damage and actually pretty good healing. It was on Circuit Royale, a pretty good poke map, but we ended up winning anyways. I played Bap. I actually had more damage than the Illari, and I was playing Baptiste. I just think Baptiste is safer based on that kind of poking role. Illari's healing, while really good single target, kind of if she's going to beam someone, it forces her to play close. And if they're playing close, then you're not really getting that off-angle pressure, which is what she excels at. I think her design is kind of flawed because there's a divide between what she wants to do and what she's good at. And right now, if what she wants to do is poke in the off angle, but she's not good at that. And if she wants to stay close to single target heal, it's okay, but it's not a good spot to play in because, like, why do that when you can just play like Zenyatta and poke as well? So I don't know. I don't think Illari's very good personally, but if you're finding success at the end of the day, just play whatever you want. And if you're winning, you're winning. You know what I mean? What do you do even as a non-sniper on sniper maps like Circuit and Havana? I get these maps a comical amount of times compared to other maps when I'm playing DPS support, and I never know what to do when they're running Widow in Hanzo or Ashe. I never play sniper heroes, I play Tracer on DPS and Lucio on support. If you can't convince your team to run full dive, which isn't guaranteed to work anyway, or you don't have a better sniper, it's GG. I can usually Frogger the Widow on other maps, but on these maps it's difficult to find a good flank without getting spotted and getting the firing squad opened on me. Plus, wall riding is crappy on Circuit, blah, blah, blah. Do I just have to learn snipers and grind Vaxta? That's a workshop code. If I don't want to feed every time on them. If you say play cover, I will come find you and make you eat an entire family-sized bag of tortilla chips vertically. Okay, on DPS, if you can't mirror the sniper, I've actually seen some success on some Cassidy players on this map, believe it or not. You kind of play the mid-range and don't allow the Widow to have all that infinite space. You really don't peek until they're kind of in that first corner on Circuit, and then you just kind of walk in and dink them and dink her a bunch of times. Other DPSs that I actually do think are really good are like Sombra. You just go invisible and find her. She's not going to be in a spot that you can't reach without a translocator on this map, so you could just find her at 200 HP with the bullet size buffs and a virus. If she's standing still scope, you can easily kill her. And if you're a support player, I wouldn't say Lucio. You basically have to play Zen, and if you're running Sigma poke, make sure the shield is first there before you poke, and then you push her away and remove her sniper angles. If you're playing Baptiste, same thing. I oftentimes will heal my tank and then look up, and if my shield's in the way from the Sig, then I will actually pressure her with a shot or two. Makes a big difference. And honestly, Kiriko is actually not that bad either. You can double tap her with a couple of kunais. You can quickly jiggle peek. Make sure she's looking at someone else. Jiggle peek and try to get a single headshot. A single headshot will make that Widow grapple out or reposition. That's probably the best thing you can do, to be honest with you. How does Lucio amp work? If you amp healing and then switch to speed, does your speed get amped for a short period of time for the remainder of the amp? Or does switching make the whole amp useless? Or does it just not amp speed when you switch? And does amping the healing increase the rate that you self-heal? The rest of this is just to fill out the character requirement. I think amp is okay. Quick answer is yes. There's a set time for Lucio amp. I think it's like what? Like 3 or 4 seconds. Whatever song is playing is the thing that's getting amped. If you're amping healing, you're getting amplified healing. If you switch to speed, people are still receiving the speed boost until the timer is over. And then that's it. So you can start amping speed, switch to healing, switch back to speed, switch back to healing. As long as you do all those 4 switches between that like 3 or 4 second duration, each of those songs will be amplified as necessary. So that's why a lot of teams will amp speed to quickly get in on them, and as soon as they're like in and engaged on the enemy, they'll switch back to healing at the last second to at least get a little bit of like amplified healing, a little bit to top people off after they take a little bit of poke, or vice versa. You top them off with a bit of heals, then quickly switch to speed at the end if you needed to heal and then engage really quickly. Okay, final question on Reddit this week was, what do you do on DPS against the new pharah? It's so much harder for hit scans to get her, and it's especially bad when she has a Mercy Pocket or it's a map like Legion Garden or Trimbali First Point. People say to target the other support and DPS like the Pharah will just ignore you and let you kill them. I genuinely don't know what to do. I pretty much only play Tracer and sometimes Reaper, so yeah, not great against Pharah. Sometimes I go for 76 for Pharah, but it never works. I only have like 30% accuracy on him. If you're a DPS against Pharah, I mean, playing Reaper, probably not very good against Pharah if you're sneaking around. As Tracer, yeah, she might fly a little too high, but honestly, just peppering her whenever you have nobody else to shoot is a little bit helpful because it'll apply that DPS passive on her for at least 2 seconds that maybe your team can capitalize on, and maybe that Mercy Pocket or that Zen Orb that's on the Pharah won't heal as much for those 2 seconds, and those little things can add up. When you say sometimes I go 76, it never works, I mean, that is honestly one of the best options as DPS. The hit scans, Ashe, Cass, Soldier, and shoot her, right? It's not about killing her, it's about putting some bullets into her to force her to like reposition, drop down, and move away, and that relieves pressure for your team. You apply pressure to her, that'll relieve pressure on your team. So that's all you do is DPS against New Pharah. You shoot her. Like, that's just, I don't know what else to tell you. That's it. But hopefully the other stuff with the Tracer tip was a little bit more of substance. But anyways, that's it for this week's Reddit Questions. See you guys next week. Bye!